Hello, chemists. So thanks for sticking around for this syllabus overview video. So follow along on the lecture slides that I've provided with this video. Keep in mind that I am teaching both Chemistry 1210 and 1220 this term, back to back in the same room, Evans 1008. I'm being a little bit lazy with this video, and I'm going to use the same video for both of the courses. The slides are the exact same for both the courses. The only difference really is the lecture schedule and the lab schedule. So keep that in mind. Also, since I am teaching two classes, make sure if you email me to just indicate which class of mine you're in. It'll help me immensely in answering your questions there. All right, so follow along. You see my annotated notes in your slides that you have. All right, so a little bit about me, your lecturer instructor. So remember, this course has three components, and I take care of the lecture part. So you'll see me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My name's Dr. Lisa Wynn. It's pronounced Win, like we will win the championship game. You can call me Dr. N or Dr. Wynn. Here's my little dream board of all the important things in my life. I was actually named after Lisa Simpson. All right, so I think that's kind of cool. Maybe I kind of emulate some of her characteristics. I don't know. My three favorite places on Earth are my home. My little farm that I've mentioned before. We have a bit of land, and I implement chemistry in my everyday life as just being a homeowner and a hobby farmer. I love to cook, so here's one of the best pizzas I've ever made in my life. It was a cheeseburger pizza, kind of combining two great foods already into one. So here are my two cats, Bean and Atlas. Bean's real name is Helios and Atlas, so you might notice that I enjoy Greek mythology. So my home, my second favorite place is Disney World. So here's me and my husband at Disney. It's been a while since we've been back because of coronavirus, but I do plan on going back maybe next summer. And then my third favorite place on this earth is Costco. I talk about Costco a lot. All right. Here are some of my chickens that I have. So here's three of them. Here are their names. There, I have five chickens total. Here's a really big morel that I found on our property, and so this kind of encapsulates my life. All right. So there we go. Okay, so what are the components of this course? So do recall that this is a 5 credit hour course, so there's multiple components here. You'll have lecture with me. There's also lab and recitation components. Those will be taught by teaching assistants who will help me elevate the chemistry content, which we're covering in lecture. Also, some other components of this course, kind of outside of the classroom, includes online homework, which is part of your final grade, and our Carmen course page. So online homework is through Mastering Chemistry. So there are due dates that I'll throw up on the Carmen calendar there. I have a slide about Mastering Chemistry. You probably already purchased it, and I'll go into more details there. Also, our Carmen or Canvas course page, that's where I put up all of the lecture slides and supplemental materials. Lots of resources there. Lots of practice problems live there. So please explore our Carmen course page. That's where I put everything that can help you succeed in this course. So here is some instructions on how to set up Mastering Chemistry. If you want to use your iPad, these are the settings on Safari that have to be turned off. But mainly with Mastering Chemistry, it's best to do it on a computer because all problems will work best on a computer browser. Not all of them work so well on the iPad. Oh, I should mention too, recitation. What is that? We know what lab is. Lab is laboratory, but recitation, if you look up the Webster dictionary definition here, it's the action of repeating something aloud from memory. But really, it's a discussion based class where you are able to do more practice problems in a smaller environment with, a smaller number of classmates and a teaching assistant to help you through those practice problems. All right, so course logistics. What are we doing weekly? We have three 105-minute lectures with me, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We have two of those 5-minute discussion based recitations with a teaching assistant. You have two different 3-hour lab sections a week with typically a different teaching assistant. And we have online homework assignments due at the end of each chapter. So, due to the pace of this course, that means there's going to be at least one or two homework sets due a week. So, keep that in mind. This course goes at an accelerated pace. It's about half the time of a typical fall or spring semester, so we're going at double the pace here. So keep that in mind. Do not fall behind, especially in the summer course. A note about midterms I added here: we have two in-class midterms. They will occur on Fridays, according to the syllabus. They will be in class in place of lecture, and then we will have one final during finals week. Finals week, I think, is August 1st to the 3rd. At this point in time, I don't know exactly when the final is yet. The course coordinators are figuring that out, but do expect that final to occur sometime between August 1st and August 3rd. All right, grading scheme for this class. So here are the weighting categories for each of the components of this course. So we have our midterms, with certain percentages. So depending on how you score on those midterms and exams, it will contribute differently to your overall grade based upon the weighted percentages here. Online homework is worth 7.5% of your grade. Recitation is 10% of your grade, and I'll talk about recitation. It's all attendance based, and then laboratory is 20% of your grade. Do note here that in order to pass the class, you need to earn 50% of the points in lab, or more. This does affect, a very small number of students every year. You could, score 100% on all of the examinations, but if you don't go to lab and you score less than a 50%, we will not be able to pass you in this course because laboratory is a large learning objective within chemistry here. So you need to earn a 50%. Basically, this only affects students who just don't go to lab. So just keep that in mind. Some common questions I get, I've just included here. Are the examinations curved at all? No, they're not. The raw score you earn will go towards this grading scheme. And then the second question is the final grades curved? They are curved. Kind of. We have a separate grading scale that we use that's different than what folks are used to. So, for example, like an A minus, in order to get an A minus, we typically think that a student needs to earn between a 90 and a 93% in the course to get an A minus. What chemistry does instead is we change the scale a little bit. So for example, an A minus would be a 89% or higher. It's a little bit different for each course. I have a Carmen page for the details of projecting your final grade after applying those weighted averages. So the final grades are curved in a sense because we use a different grading scale from the university that people typically think of. All right, calculator policy. This is important and it applies just to exams. I don't care what calculator you use for recitation or lab. Okay, ignore that phone call. All right. Um, but for examinations, this is important. These are the only permitted calculators that you will be allowed to use for exams. This is written on the course syllabus, but I have pictures here. Everyone loves pictures of the calculators you're permitted to use. A big one here is the TI Nspire is not an approved calculator, and it's because of this keyboard that we're not allowing that calculator at our examination. So please make sure that you have one of these calculators or the ones that are listed on the course syllabus. They're only the TI or the Texas Instruments series. At this time, we're not allowing Casio calculators just because of maintaining academic integrity within there. So make sure you have one of these before your first midterm. I'm going to make your teaching assistants check it during recitation one of these days. All right. So that's the calculator policy. Okay. All right, so here's the lecture schedule. This one is for 1220. The schedule is a little bit different. Well, it is different for 1210, but do note, we move very, very fast. What you see here is that we go through about a chapter or two a week. All right, so that means on Sundays, our homework sets are due for those chapters. There could be one or two homework sets due a week. So here are all the lecture topics for 1220. 1210 folks, look at your syllabus with those lecture topics. All right, recitation schedule. It's the same for both classes here. So, how the policy works for recitation, we have 14 graded recitation activities. They're all attendance based, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later. But basically, only 10 graded recitations go to the gradebook at the end. So, in order to get a 100% in recitation, and recall that that is 10% of your overall grade, you have to go to a minimum of 10 recitations. It's just attendance based. So I do see here the Tuesday after Juneteenth and July 4th, we have no recitation. I've canceled those, and you also don't have labs those days. So I kind of made it easy for you so you don't have any chemistry on these Tuesdays within there. So 14 total recitations. I noted here where those midterms are as well, but those are in class. All right, here's the lab schedule for 12/20. So do note that you do not have labs for the Tuesday after Juneteenth and July 4th. Same thing with recitation. Do know that I am not super involved in lab. So if you do have questions concerning lab, please reach out to your teaching assistant or the lab supervisor about logistics of lab. I can answer simple questions or content related questions, but if it's very lab specific, I might not be much of a help there. All right, so this is for 12/20, 12/10, folks. Look at your lab schedule. All right, so resources for you to succeed in this course. So I do have office hours every Monday and Wednesday. This is tentatively set. I can change it depending on folks' schedules. So tentatively right now, I will have drop-in office hours between 1:30 and 3:30 Monday and Wednesday. So those are our Monday, Wednesday lecture days in the afternoon, basically after lunch. In those 2-hour blocks, feel free to just drop in if you have questions. What I typically do is put up practice problems on my projector and we work through problems. So remember, I'm teaching both 12/10 and 12/20. Since the classes are smaller, I figured I could just kind of combine all the office hours for both the classes. So we'll see if this works. If it doesn't, I can adjust it as things go on. But do know if you can't make these office hours, please reach out to me and we can set up a Zoom meeting or another time for you to drop in to chat. And I'll mention this to incentivize folks to come to my office hours. If you come, I will give you a small gift that will help you immensely in this course. It is not extra credit. We don't have extra credit in this class, but it is a small gift that previous students have said is the best thing that they ever received ever. All right, so that's my office hours. I will help with practice problems and lecture things. We also have the Learning Resource Center or TA office hours or teaching assistants. Their hours are to be determined right now. Basically, it's a drop-in tutor center on the first floor of Celeste. It's in Celeste 170. You can drop in during those times. In the summer, the hours are a little bit different. I haven't figured out when those hours are, but I will post it when I find out. Also, your textbook is a good resource as well. If you opted into Carmen Books, it was a $45 fee when you registered for this course. You get the e-textbook for free through our online homework. So when you enter the online homework portal, there's a link for e-text, and that will give you the complete textbook, digital version of the textbook. Also, I post a lot of resources on our Carmen page for you to work out. My chapter overview sheets with very worked out, detailed keys that contain tons of practice problems. There's supplemental videos by Dr. Foose, and I will be posting some practice exams for you. All right, and that will all be on the Carmen course page. All right, so here's the information about Mastering Chemistry, our online homework portal. So the majority of you probably have already purchased it. If you opted into Carmen Books, which was, yeah, $45 fee, you get the e-text and online homework access. If you opted out of Carmen Books, then you will have to purchase Mastering Chemistry separately, and you will not have access to the e-textbook within there. So this is a way to alleviate the strain of expensive chemistry textbooks. So it's just a $45 fee, and you get everything. So instructions to register for the course, the Mastering Chemistry online homework is on our Carmen page, but it's easy enough if you opted into Carmen Books and you click on this link on Canvas, My Lab in Mastering, it will take you to the portal and link you to the online homework portal, and you'll see your grades populate your grade book. So if you have to buy Mastering Access separately. You will need to access or input an access code to get you assigned to our course. Those instructions are on Carmen itself. Yeah, so I mentioned before, through Mastering, you get access to the e-text. So once you click on that My Lab in Mastering, this is on a computer browser, just so you know, you'll see something that looks like this. And on the side navigation bar, you'll see Pearson e-text, and this is what will take you to the textbook. So how I do homework in this class is there is one chapter homework set due for every chapter we study. How the due dates are arranged is that the assignment for that chapter is due the following Sunday at midnight after we complete the chapter and lecture. So if we complete the like chapter 3 on a Friday, that means that chapter 3 homework is due on Sunday. So like 2 days later at midnight. So I really want students to be looking at homework before. We finish the chapter in class. There's some easier problems, some harder problems. So please don't wait until Sunday to be doing these homework sets. I try to keep the homework sets between 90 and 120 minutes for each one. Just one homework set due for each chapter. And so here are some tips and some of the guidelines here for the policy of Mastering Chemistry homework. So please complete those questions as we move through the chapter. It'll help, prep you for, harder questions and kind of keep you accountable for the topics that we're learning as we're going through the chapter. There's no penalty for just looking at the questions. So if we start a chapter, maybe just read through all of the questions that are there. Do the easy ones, the ones that are just definition questions as we go through, and save the harder ones for later. No penalty for just looking at them. There's no penalty for looking at hints either, so you use all the hints that you want, but there are penalties for getting questions incorrect. So there are 6 attempts per question. The penalty is depending on what kind of question it is. So I really encourage you to fully understand those concepts that a question's asking before actually putting in an answer. There is a late policy for homework sets. So as you know, the homework sets due Sunday at midnight. But there is a grace period within there. So for every day a question is answered past the due date, there's a 10% penalty. The max penalty is 50%, meaning you can wait till the last day of the semester, do all of the homework, and you'll get half credit for all of those homework questions that you did late. So do note that this late policy only applies to individual questions. So if did half of the homework assignment earlier in the week and then you forgot about the other 12 questions past Sunday, that means those questions you didn't answer in that set, so like the 12 of all of them, only those questions will get the penalty. Questions you already completed will before the due date will not have that penalty applied there. So again, it helps to complete questions before or like while we are moving through that chapter. All right. Okay, so here's a little bit more information about Mastering Chemistry. Again, the best way to enter it is through the link here on Carmen. Here's just a screenshot of the grading policy that you see when you're doing the questions. So you can see that here. Late assignment items, again, the penalty is only applied to single items. You can receive partial credit, 10% reduction per day. The max penalty is 50%, right? And that's to incentivize students to still do homework even though it's late, because it's going to help you in the end for those examinations. Here's an example of what a question may look like. All right, so this question is just a multiple choice. So if you select an incorrect answer here, you will be penalized more because there's only five options, right? So I mean, by process of elimination, you can get it right eventually if you have 6 tries. So the penalty here is a little bit greater than it would be for like a numerical question within there. So this is what a question looks like. Do note that there's some links here that can help you answer the question. If you click on this review tab, it will show you exactly in the textbook where this topic is brought up. So this will bring you to the e-text. Here's constants that you might want to refer to, and this link will bring up the periodic table. So please use these links. There's no penalty to use them at all. And sometimes there are hints. The hint parts will come up here and you just click on those. All right, so that's Mastering Chemistry. You also have to sign up for laboratory access through the Hayden McNeil smart worksheets. There's instructions on our Carmen course page on how to register for this. So lab access is different than homework. So please keep that in mind. This is a screenshot from last semester, but I'm hoping it's the same. All right. So you will have to purchase this. You might have already purchased Hayden McNeil access through the bookstore, but if you didn't, you can go straight to the website and purchase it. I think it's actually slightly cheaper if you purchase it through the website. All right. So there's information there. In order to register your lab access with your correct section, you'll need to input your section number from your schedule. So do note that your lab section number is different from lecture. All right, so don't use the lecture section number here. Please use the lab section right there. All right, so. Okay, some tasks for lab to make sure that you're ready for lab on Tuesday is get that Hayden McNeil access before your first lab. Purchase a lab coat from Celeste 180. It's the first floor of Celeste, so it's the same building where your lab in. It's just on the first floor. That's where you can purchase your lab coat. They have trial sizes for you to try on before you purchase one. You can only use a credit card or a Buck ID. They're open most of the day, Monday through Friday. If you're in 1220 and already have a lab coat, use the same one. This is mostly for 1210 folks. Also, in addition to the lab coat, make sure you're wearing appropriate lab attire to be in the lab, and that includes long pants, closed-toed shoes, and basically no ankles showing. We ask that folks don't wear the stretchy leggings. So denim jeans are the safest things to wear. It offers the most protection when in lab. So goggles, if you're in 1210, you will receive goggles on your first day. If you're in 1220, please use the same goggles from last term. All right, so make sure that you do all these things before your first lab. I'm sure your lab TA has already made these announcements to you, but I'm just reiterating them. All right, so how to reach me. You don't need to schedule anything if you're meeting me during office hours. Just drop in during those times. My office is in Evans Lab 1043, so it's through the stairwell next to our lecture room. You go up through half a flight of stairs through orange doors and go down the hallway. There's some yellow post-it notes that I've put on the wall, so just follow those to find my office. Again, my office hours will be Monday and Wednesday, 1:30 to 3:30. This might change if folks' needs are different. But at any time, feel free to email me directly at my OSU email. Do not use Carmen messaging. Do not email me at my Buckeye Mail email. That was my old student email, and it's actually a different inbox that I have to look at separately. So I have an auto reply on it to say, hey, no, email the email that's in the syllabus. So if you want a fast response, email me here. I don't like Carmen messaging because it's hard to see the sequence of all of the responses. So I don't like Carmen messaging. It's hard for me to search. Please just email me directly if you want a fast response. So that's for me, but remember, there's other individuals part of this chemistry team. You can always direct questions to your lab or recitation TA via email or the LRC as well. All right. So yeah, there we go. So that's me. All right. So how are our lectures organized? So I will post PowerPoints for each chapter. Uh, uh, each chapter will have its own link where I will have all the resources available for that specific chapter. So here's an example of what the chapter 5 page will look like. And again, remember, one of my core values is to be predictable and transparent. So all the pages will look exactly the same. I will show you lecture slides. So note I will post lecture slides two different ways where we have one slide per page and two slides per page. I'm a two slide per page type of girl. So use whatever works for you. And underneath, I will have links to additional resources for you. So there are supplemental lecture videos made by Dr. Solsfus that I will link there. If you need, a different person explaining the similar concepts, Dr. Foos teaches a little bit differently than I do. So maybe you will benefit more from his words versus mine. The chapter reading guide for that specific chapter that will help you navigate the big points in the chapter as you're reading the textbook, if that's something you choose to do, and any other supplemental resources that I think will be beneficial. So I have here a guide to calorimetry that I made, might be useful for this specific lab. And I think the most important thing is for every chapter, I have an overview handout that includes all of the learning objectives and a slew of practice problems and a very worked out key. So this is a great way for you to practice questions in, a non-assessment type environment. So this is basically just extra practice problems for you and a very detailed key, so you can essentially have me there, right there, guiding you on what to do for these different practice problems. All right. Also, on each of the chapter pages, I will post the link to lecture recording. So I typically record the lectures via the podium. The podium will record my lectures. And after the fact, I typically edit them and then post them to YouTube. And then I will put the videos on that chapter page. Right. So that's where you will expect the videos to go. Please expect a 2 to 3 day delay within there. I don't want students depending on those videos. I want you guys to go to class. Those videos are just there if you missed a part of a lecture slide, or if you want to see me go over a practice problem again, you'll see it on the lecture video within there. Okay, recitation logistics. So this is the 55-minute lab section that you registered for. Recitation and lab, you registered for them together. So it's the short one. That is your recitation, your discussion-based class. These are led by different teaching assistants. And I mentioned before, recitation grades are just attendance-based. There's 14 of them, but only 10 of them go into the grade book. So how we mark attendance is I make a attendance survey that you complete. It has a password. You will go to recitation, your TA will give you the password, and you will complete the survey. It's very short. It's not a quiz. It's not a, chemistry quiz. It's just a survey. And once you complete it, you'll get those 10 points. So to kind of incentivize folks to go to recitation, once you complete that survey, you will get instant access to the key to that day's activity. I provide an activity that has practice problems from the content that we're going over that week. And so, if you complete the attendance survey, if you look at the feedback, you'll see a link for the worked out key for that activity. So, please go to recitation. By the end of the week, I will post the key to everyone for folks who weren't able to make it. So, I will be posting those periodically, but doing the survey gives you instant access. For the rest of the recitation, the other 54 minutes of the class, work through the activity with your TA and classmates. You are not graded on completion, right? This time is for you to figure out, okay, what do you know, what do you not know, and get extra help from your teaching assistant. Your 4 lowest recitation grades are dropped, meaning that you can miss 4 recitations for any reason and they will be excused. You don't have to tell me or your TA you're not going to show up because it's embedded in the grade book that 4 recitations, your lowest ones, are dropped. But I do want folks, recitation is a very powerful tool for you to help elevate your learning in a space that is useful because you have a teaching assistant there who is an expert in chemistry. All right, so that's recitation. Okay, midterms. All right, so this is where a lot of the points of your class is coming from. So midterms will occur in class, and this is different if you've taken chemistry here before. I wanted to make it easier for everyone, so we're having midterms during class. I believe they are 90-minute midterms. All right, so 90 minutes. Okay, we cover more material than a typical midterm on in like spring or fall because of the accelerated pace, and there's only 2 midterms instead of 3. So how our midterms are given is they are Carmen quizzes. All right, you need to install Respondus Lockdown browser for this to work, and we give the quiz or give the exam via this Carmen quiz. So we are limited by the capability of a Carmen quiz. So it's not open response. I can't ask you to show work on a Carmen quiz. So the questions are really a combination of multiple choice, pull down, and numerical response. I will give practice exams and supplemental informations to you before the exam so you know what to expect, what you are given at the exam. Really, the only thing you need to bring is your calculator and a pencil and your iPad or laptop with Respondus Lockdown Browser. And a form of ID to these exams. We give you a periodic table and the supplemental information. I will write the exams. I will post the practice exams, and I typically hold a Zoom review session before each of the exams. So please do expect that. The final exam is cumulative, so it will cover the entire year's material within there. All right, so there's midterms. Okay, laboratory. I already mentioned I'm not super involved in laboratory. There's 2 weekly in-person labs a week. Uh, Direct any questions to the lab supervisor or your laboratory TA, especially if you're going to be missing a lab. I can't really do anything about it. It's the lab supervisor who will be the one to decide whether a makeup lab or excusing a lab is a possibility there. So it's the lab supervisor, not me, who makes those decisions about lab. All right, so there we go. All right, and so this video is long enough. So a note about any absences due to sickness or quarantine. So note that I do not take attendance during lecture. So really, it's your individual responsibility to stay caught up with the material, with the lecture videos I provide and the supplemental information I provide if you are absent. So that's for lecture. You don't have to tell me if you're not coming to lecture. With lab, it's a little bit different because it's up to the lab supervisor to decide whether to give a makeup or not. So do keep that in mind. And recitation, do understand we have a very lenient absence policy, so everyone gets four absences there. So really, it is up to you to be on top of what you are to miss. If you are under quarantine due to COVID or quarantine, if you are given documentation, please share that with us, and we can accommodate you even more within there. So student services will help you get that documentation, so we can allow you more accommodations. But do note, I've embedded within our course accommodations that can kind of help anybody for those one-off absences from class. All right, so that goes over the syllabus. I'm going to go through this very, very quickly on the first day of class, but here in this video, there's much more detail. So look forward to seeing everyone soon.